Right? When they prosper and seem to be controlling, and not only seem, they are actually controlling, right? The merchant space, right? They control the mercantile system, all right? They're the ones who hold the money. We are, in terms of density and population, 95% of the total population. A big number. But yet, we only own 5% of the country's land. Alright? And there are only 5%. 4% white and 1% Indians. Add up together, it's 5%. But they got 95% of the wealth. What kind of mass is that? How could 95 only have 5 and 5 have 95? Something is wrong with that, don't you think? Alright, so that's why we're here. We're here to change that. We are creating wealth and leaving legacies for those to follow, our children and offspring. Alright? Leaving something there for them, something solid. That's the mistake that we make. We as this beautiful looking skin, right? That we need to appreciate more. What we do, as somebody said, we always seeking to find the negative within us and don't look for the positive. Alright? But we must change that. If we want results in the country, we must come together collectively. That's why I have the word clustering. A little berry bets have a little cherry, a little grape. And you squeeze that. You don't want to get the smell of the fruit. But if you have a whole set and you crunch them together, you'll be able to get a swab, we call it a swab, of juice, wine, whatever that comes from, a bunch of fruit. Right, so that's why we're saying clustering, working together, coming together. In this room, you tell me they're 40, not no. Or 40, 50, this month we're 50 something now. If I'm saying you 50 something or 40 something, I use 50 as a rounded number, or 50 as a minimum. It is said that every individual, every person, and this is a statistical measure that is used scientifically, would have 4 dependents, right? People depending on them in one way or the other, right? Whether it's a family, or parent, somebody else, right? 4 people are one. I don't know if they came up with the number 4 because some people that stand from the north, some stand from the east, some stand from the west and the south, right? I don't know how they come up with that, but that's the news I get. 4. All right, 4 of them. Now let me say 50 by 4. That's 200, right? And then if you remember that each of those people would also have 4, right? That's 200 by 4. That's 800. And then that 800 would have another 4. That's 3,200 people already, yeah? Right? Quick little math? So 3,200 people already. So I'm saying if each of you was to use the word sponsor or promote your next door neighbor, right? You may not provide the same service, but if you know somebody wants his service, you tell them about his service. And all the others that. See what a hybrid you're creating? Tentacles, the network, clustering, that's what we're talking about. And we want you to think in that way. That's why we're doing this. Right? We want you to come together collectively and to shore what we call underpinning the economy. Right now, the economy is tougher than all of us, we know that. But we are told that and they use this term regularly at the grassroots. Now we may call grassroots. Not derogatory, it's not a derogatory term, but really and truly, to my mind, we are the ones that are really holding on the rope. Right? The economy, the very bottom, this level, alright? Pull together, work together, and create something that could be shared, be in parallel throughout this pigmentation. Alright? And like to keep thinking that we are pushing one another, support more local businesses. If you know, if somebody in this room has a service, as long as it is a quality service, right? And if it is not a quality service, you must teach them how to get it to the standard that it should be at before we can but give them a chance. give someone in the room a chance. They're going through the same situation as you, trying with an idea and seeking to clear up. Now, the whole thing about giving you that loan, our only interest when you pay back, right, is to be able to offer it to someone else that they would have an opportunity. That's it. All right? So now you heard the Prime Minister talking about the issue on the between turn. This is your turn. Kindly pay back so that we can give somebody else a turn. All right? With that, I'm going to hand you over to I keep pushing her, right? And you get behind more. I'm going to hand you over to these facilitators. To my mind, they're the best I've seen in a long time. I've seen them. I've been doing it for 31 years. And to my mind, these are top drawers. All right? Okay.
Good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen. I want to give you some instructions right after I introduce myself. My name is Paula Niles-Ward, Mrs. Yes, and this is my partner Maureen Brown. Just stand so everyone. Oh, okay. And this is Maureen. Okay, so we're going to be presenting Introduction to Management. Before we get started, several pieces of business. First things first. We've all signed in. No? Okay, so I'm going to pass it around again. And those who have not had the opportunity, please enter your name in capital letters so that the person who has to read from the form can read clearly. Next case, bathrooms. Should you need to use the facilities, there is a brown door to the back of this room. You go through that door and you go all the way down to the end of the corridor. It will be your second right. Turn right again for the ladies, go straight ahead for the gentlemen. Should there be an emergency, there's an emergency exit, and we go through the same door, and it's the first right, okay? You're gonna enter the lunchroom there, and then you're gonna press and push that emergency exit door, and assemble at the sign, the assembly point in the parking lot, all right? And that's for emergencies. Now, other business. First thing, we have some devices on our person that tend to be fairly noisy when they're ready. And I would appreciate if you would silence your cell phone or put it on vibrate. All right, we don't want to interrupt the learning process, and we want to be respectful of people's time and allow them the chance to capture what is being said. If you need to take a call or make one, just go quickly on the outside of either of the doors and take or make your call, all right? So that we don't disturb everybody else. Next thing, we will be respectful to each other when we're making our comments and when we need to ask questions and so on. We're here to learn and to learn from each other. So I expect some interaction, not just me talking. I want to hear some of the experiences you may have had already, some of the things that you're going through as they are relevant to what we're saying. As you would appreciate, there are, I think it's 36 persons, so we keep our comments short, yeah? But that doesn't mean that I don't want to hear from you, okay? So if you have a question, a query, feel free to interrupt me anytime, just raise your hand and we will proceed. Another thing, every now and then, smile a while and give your face a rest. It's okay. It's great fuel for me, it's wonderful, and I appreciate that. So feel relaxed, feel, that you're comfortable in a comfortable space, and you can smile a few times. Is good. Every few minutes is no problem. Finally, we want to stand. We want to start things off with prayer. So we stand, we bow our heads, and we're going to ask Maureen to pray for us.
Father, we give you thanks.
Yes, God.
And your mercies endure forever.
Thank you, God.
Thank you for this opportunity this afternoon to be trained, to hear, to be aware, to be informed. We ask for your wisdom and understanding to be with us today. Lord, open up our hearts and minds. You know the things that pertain to us individually as well as corporately. You know us by name and nature. You created us for such a time as this purpose.
Yes, God.
We want to fulfill that purpose. That's why we've taken this step or another step. So, Father, we thank you for your goodness, your mercy, for being ever present with us, and for helping us, Lord God, to be aware, to be informed, to have a mind open, to even make the changes, whether they're small or they're great. to have the boldness to make them and to do and make the difference and the impact that we need to make in our homes,
Yes,
communities,
yes,
and
Lord.
in the nation as a whole.
Barbados.
Give you thanks, we give you praise for all those things. In
Jesus'
my
name,
pray.
amen, amen. All right, you may have your seats. Thank you so much. Okay, so let me just back up a minute. So this is Introduction to Management, and the SME that you see there actually refers to, or actually means, small and medium enterprises, okay? Let's look at the objectives. Going too fast. Objectives. Our objectives are to ensure that participants have a basic understanding of management and its key components for small and medium-sized enterprises, to assist participants in learning about and applying sound management principles and tools, to help participants adopt healthy attitudes and an awareness of their various roles. So thus, our agenda follows the objectives. Definition of management and small business, that's where we're going to start. We'll have our 4 main functions of the owner or manager in a small and medium-sized enterprise, as well as some additional managerial concerns. So let's start with our definition of management. Management is the alignment and coordination of multiple activities in an organization. It is the process of getting activities completed efficiently with and through other people. And if it is one thing I really want to point out there, is this word, efficiently. In business, we're about efficiency, we're about making money, we're about being conservative when it comes to costs, we're about efficiency. All right, it's a major thing in terms of business, but as we go on, you will see it come out. So, a definition of what a small business is according to the Small Business Act. All right? For the purposes of the Small Business Development Act, a small business is an enterprise that, 1, is incorporated under the Companies Act. There's a star there because you don't have to be incorporated to be considered a small business. Okay? It's not a requirement. All right? But as far as the Act is concerned, they wanted to put that in, and it's there. All right? It has more than 75% of its shares locally owned. It has not more than $1 million as stated or paid up capital. It has not more than $2 million in annual sales, and it employs no more than 25 persons. All right, so that's just the beginning of the act. It goes on, and if you look at the link, if you go and visit that link, you can find the full act. All right. Okay, so that's why we provided that. Okay, so let's talk first about the roles of small business owners. A small business manager must be very entrepreneurial, and they have to be a generalist. Hi, good afternoon. Excuse me, sir.
Please tell them to write their name in block letters.
Okay, I just did, but
I have covered it.
can't read? Okay, no problem. All right. Okay, so the request is just that you write your names in capital, in block letters now. Capital. Yes, please. Oh, sure, no problem. Let me just say, you will normally get a copy, a handout, a printed copy of what I'm going to present today. It's just not available today, but you should have it by Thursday. All right, so I can go back for you so that you can see it. Yeah, it's no problem. But you will have that in the handout as well, the printed copy, once it becomes available. Okay? All righty. You have it, ma'am? Okay. So let's talk about what this entrepreneurial thing means. It says a small business manager must be very entrepreneurial. What is that? What does that mean? Okay. What do you think it means to be an entrepreneur?
Able to work well, any area
You have it, but
Being an all-rounder. Knowing
that's generalist. That's generalist.
everything. Knowing
Well-
actually practically majority of the different jobs.
Okay.
Skills.
Okay, no problem.
Got an idea.
To have an idea. All right. Okay, so just wanted the board. Okay. So an entrepreneur, as he was saying, you have to be well-rounded. I think that's what he's trying to say. But it's a well-rounded person that starts business. So all of you are entrepreneurs. You're starting your own business. Not only that, but they don't only start a business. They continually look to see what other businesses they can start and what other businesses they can go in and grow. Now, we do that within the limits of our capacity, obviously. Because if you can only manage one, then why start 5? Unless you have somebody else to manage those 5 for you. You understand? So the point about entrepreneurship is that you don't just stay with just one thing. You keep looking. You keep finding out what's out there. You keep being a part of what is happening. And assessing what is happening so that you can turn that into a profitable organization, a profitable business for yourself. That's the idea behind entrepreneurial. Generalist. Anybody ever heard the term jack of all trades and king of none? A generalist, chief cook and bottle washer. That's what generalists mean. You're good at a lot of different things because you have to be capable and able to do a wide variety of things as a business owner. So let's talk about some of those things. What you would see here are some of the roles that small business owners are required to play for their own business. We have figurehead. Everybody gets a picture in their mind what a figurehead is. This is who people think of when they think of your business. All right? A leader. You have to be a leader. You need to take the reins of your company and go forward and bring people along with you. So you have to lead. You have to be a liaison. You work in between your customer, your employees. You're a liaison. You're a liaison. Information monitor. You need to know what people are saying about your business. And not only that, correct it if it's wrong. Endorse it if it is correct. Yeah? So you actually have to monitor, disseminate, and so on information. You are your business's spokesperson. You have to be able to tell people, I always say, in a sentence, what you do. In a paragraph, give me some more information, because I might be interested in finding out what you do or having your service. And in a page. So those lengths, you need to have 3 statements or 3 communications, 3 types of communication that would give you, in a sentence, what I do. In a paragraph, what I could do and what I can do for you, and in a page, everything that my business offers. So, consider me a customer, and I'm now, a potential customer, and I'm now coming to you for the first time, or I'm now meeting you somewhere that has nothing at all to do with your business. I say to you, so what do you do? Right? Anybody's been to like networking parties or anything like that? Where you have to tell people, no? Okay, so we can get some practice today then? All right, okay, that's not a problem. So I will say, sir, what are you doing? What is your business?
I'm a photographer.
Photographer, so you're
Multimedia.
a multimedia. Okay, good. Now, as a potential customer, I might say, well, I have a wedding coming up. I need a photographer. So the next stage I want you to take me through is, have you done weddings before? Is it something that is your normal practice of business? Do you do site visits? What do you do? How do we go about? So the next thing now he needs to tell me, like in the space of a paragraph, is what he does. So you've told me photography and multimedia, right? But now as a potential customer, I'm asking you, how does it work? So that's your paragraph. Yeah? How does that work for me? Do I call you? Do I book you 6 months in advance? Things like that. Now, detailing comes in your page. You understand? See where I'm going with this? All right, good. All right. You also are, as we explained, the entrepreneur, the conflict resolver. Let me say conflict is a part of life. Let's deal with it. Be prepared, be ready to deal with it. It's going to happen. All right? So you need to be able to resolve conflict. You need to allocate your resources wisely. If you're going to be efficient, if you're going to turn a profit, you need to allocate your resources carefully. And I love this one. You have to be a negotiator. Those persons who are very successful in their business, they learn the skill of negotiating. Some people call it haggling and all sorts of other fancy names. At the end of the day, it's negotiating. All right? And there are things that you will be able to do that other persons don't do because you're able to give and take. All right? All right, so let's go forward. All right. So the 4 main approaches to management, all right? These are given so that you would have an idea of some of the things that you can use to make up your own approach to how you're going to manage your business, okay? So don't think of them as pie in the sky. Think of them, and I'm going to try and make them very practical for you. So the first approach was the classical one, is concerned with improving things like productivity, efficiency, and output. So let me give you that in a practical scenario. I run a shoe store. I manufacture shoes. All right? My concern as the manager in with this type of approach is how much shoes I can get, in what time, and at what cost. These are the main things. So how much is output? Right? Let's say I have to purchase my materials, my raw materials in bulk. All right? So I make a purchase that should last me a month. Out of those materials, I know I can get 1,000 pairs of shoes. The day that I can purchase that same amount of material and get 1,500 pairs of shoes, I have increased my productivity and I've increased my efficiency and my output, like it or not. Yeah? So that approach is concerned with productivity, efficiency, and output. Let me just say, it costs me the same amount to purchase the raw materials in bulk. So if I can get 1,500 instead of 1,000, it's costing me less per pair of shoes. Not so? Okay, good. So we're going to talk about costs a little bit because costs are important. You need to know in your business what it costs you to produce the items that you are producing, to supply the service that you are supplying. Okay, let's say I make natural juices. What goes into my natural juice? I need a container with cover. I need my raw materials. Let's say it's cucumbers. Cucumber and ginger, something. Okay, so I need my raw materials. It would be cucumber, ginger, sugar, water. All right, now the water comes on your bill. What part of that am I using to produce these juices? Part of my cost is for the water. Part of my cost. All right, so everything that goes into making that product, including labor, is part of my cost. If I'm not covering my costs, am I making money? I'm wasting time. I'm spending thought in mud, as the old people would tell you. Because I would be, month by month, my own resources would be dwindling because I'm giving away the juice below what it costs me to make it. So if it costs me $1, I know I have to charge $1.50. Let's be real. To be able to just recover the expenses and then go again. All right? So costs are important. Tracking costs important. Now, the quantitative approach applies quantitative techniques such as maths and statistics and a lot of them fun things to decision making. All right? So you gather your data, right? Mathematical data, whether it is like how we just had the costs, right? Or you can gather statistical data like you might do a customer service survey or a customer feedback survey. And you gather your data, you assemble it, and from that data, you make your decision. So let me see if I can give you something practical for quantitative analysis. All right, so the same juice maker, okay? I want to know at the end of the month how much cucumber juices I was able to sell as opposed to cane juice, all right? So I start doing my statistics. I want to see what portion of sales was actually for cucumber juice as opposed to the other types that I'm selling. So now I start breaking it down into statistics. Well, this percent, 10% of my sales was this juice. Does it make sense? Continue with that? Or is it something like there's a glut on the market of this particular vegetable? Should I do that one instead? Carrots instead, right? So that now is taking maths, taking statistics of your information from your business to apply to your decision making. Behavioral approach, it focuses on human behavior. So it's like, where are people spending their money? Right? This is the behavioral approach. I'm interested in things like where people are spending their money so I can get into that field, get into that market. I'm interested in how my employees feel about this particular decision or that particular decision that I need to make for my business. All right? So it's more focused on human behavior. All right. So the final one is actually comprised of two things, and it's called the contemporary approach. The systems approach, it views the company as a whole system with interrelated and interdependent parts. And the contingency approach is basically develops a situational variable. So if X happens, then we'll do Y. All right? So an idea of that would be, let's say in the same juice business, if cucumbers are abundant, I might try to do more cucumber juices because it's cheaper, right, to source the item, and if I can blend it with other things and sell it maybe at a higher price, then I gotta make the money and sell it at a higher price, then it works for me. All right, so those are the four main approaches, and they're not mutually exclusive. You can blend any of them together to form your own approach, how you want to manage your company. So I just want to give you some tools to help you, right? Definition, okay, so we're going on to organizational culture. Definition of culture. It is a system of shared meaning or the way we do things around here. When you think of any company downtown, or any international company, let me give you a comparison. They're in the same field, KFC versus Chefette. There's a way that employees at KFC do things that's completely different to how Chefette does things. Right? Think about Cape Shepherd for a minute. Do you know, or have you ever noticed that the type of things that happen downstairs, the service that you get downstairs, where you're going for perfume and makeup and all the high-end stuff, is quite different to when you go upstairs and you go into the I call it keep fit. See how old I am. Anyway, into the gym section. It's a different way of handling the customers, a different way of interfacing. Why? Because they're different types of business, but they're all in the same building, aren't they? Okay, good. So culture. You can see the difference even in an organization's culture, the way we do things around here, the stories we tell about when it was founded, what lessons they learned, all that, yeah, can contribute to your culture. The main source, though, for a company's culture is you, the owner. You get to do it. You get to conceive and to specify. As the owner of your company, you're responsible for your culture of the company. You get to decide what you're going to put up with and what you're not going to deal with, you know? All right, so as owner manager of your company, you're responsible for the culture of your organization. You can craft it to fit your specifications from the beginning. So the source of culture is a reflection of your vision. It's a reflection of your mission as the owner, as the company's early founder. It results from the interaction of the founder's biases and beliefs and assumptions and what the first employees actually experience out in the field. So you may have come with a preconceived notion that everybody wants hamburgers rare. Anyway, they like them blue. But everybody's not like that. And when you come and you start running your burger joint, your customers start to tell you, no, that raw thing don't work for me. I don't want poke it and see nothing running out. right? So make sure it's well done. So these are the things that then start to shape your culture. So now you have tolerance where you say, okay, do you want it rare? Do you want it medium rare? Do you want it well? And you realize that you fit to the customer's request, right? So culture, you being the source of culture, yes, you dictate what you will do and what you will not do, but it can also be shaped by your very early experiences, okay? A word about social responsibility and business ethics, very, very important. Social responsibility and business ethics basically state that businesses ought to act for the benefit of society as a whole. Example. So an example of social responsibility would be operating your business in an environmentally friendly way. Okay? Because you're interested in your society as a whole, you want to benefit, you want to give a benefit to society, all right, and not be detrimental. So with my natural juices now, I might decide with whatever's left over from my process, I will use that for composting. Yeah, I don't just go pick it up and dump it on somebody's land. I have a compost heap. Yeah, and I blend it, I put it together, I cut the seeds, whatever, so that they don't grow. But I do my due diligence to make sure that I'm not just dumping bags and bags of garbage on somebody's property. So I operate in an environmentally friendly way. As far as business ethics is concerned, a simple example is having integrity. Letting your word be your bond and being honest. Let's talk about that a minute. People, when you have your business, be honest with your customers. Do not tell them what you think they want to hear. Tell them the truth. Because you know what? The truth is going to come out at the end anyway. Okay? So you might as well get off on the right foot, tell them the truth up front. And I will give you an example. I was waiting on Saturday, I was at home on Saturday, and my neighbor, he said, well, I went over to the store such and such, okay? And I purchased these supplies. And they said to me, I will get them this morning. So he has his workers waiting to get cracking on this job. And they're waiting, 1 hour pass, nobody ain't show up, 2 hours pass. All right, okay, what's going on? All right. And the thing is, the store is 5 minutes away. All right, nobody can show up, that's okay. We're gonna work this out. 2 o'clock in the evening. He went 10 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the evening is when the product comes. By then, you know, his worker's done gone. But that could have been avoided simply by saying, sir, we need to fill the truck. I know you are 5 minutes away, but it's gonna take us X time. He was sitting there, the men were sitting there waiting to work, and he had nothing to work with. So he had to release them after 2 hours to go and do something else. All right? So be upfront with people. Don't tell them just what they want to hear because you feel they want to hear it, and that can make them happy. No, because he still had to sit down and wait 4 hours before he could get the items. Be upfront with people. All right? All right. And if you make that a part of your culture, it becomes what you are known for. So that's your real brand. Your real brand isn't the logo or the stuff on your letterhead. That's not your real brand. Your real brand is what you are known for in the market. All right? So let's talk about some characteristics of culture. And these are some of the things that you can start to think about in terms of what type of culture you want to have or you want your business to have. Individual initiative. How much leeway, how much freedom to function are your employees going to have? Or are you going to allow them to have? How much tolerance of risk is your business going to be able to endure? Are you going to be a risk taker? Are you going to be very sheltered? Right? Very conservative. What direction do you want your business to go in? All right? What about the integration? How integrated is your business going to be? Control. how much managerial support and control do your employees need to have? or is your organization going to be known for? Are you going to be known for getting down and breathing down in people's necks? This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. Is that going to be your culture? Or are you going to allow persons some creativity to get the job done? And how much? All right? Persons, are they going to want to work for you? No, I'm serious. What are employees going to want to work for you? If you have a culture of zero tolerance for conflict, conflict happens, it's a part of life, right? So as you are going through planning what type of organization you want to have and what you want to be able to do, give a thought to the culture that you want to have, all right? Communication patterns. How are you going to communicate both internally and externally with your customers, right? So always important things. All right, let's move on. So the question for you is, what type of culture do you want your business to have? Are you going to be risk takers? Are you going to be conflict resolvers? You know, what type of culture do you want your business to have? All right. So let's talk a bit now about the management process. So the process approach states that management performs these 4 functions. They're planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. All right? So there's 4 basic functions that any owner or manager should perform. The management process is that of getting things done through and with people, operating in organized groups. Management is concerned with improving productivity, efficiency, and output, which forms the basic purpose of any company. You're in business to do something, to make something, to supply a service. So you're interested in being productive. You're adding. You're not taking away, if you understand what I'm saying. Even when you're recycling, you're adding. Because you're taking something out of the environment and improving it and sending it back, right? Okay. So those are the 4 basic principles of management. So the functions of the manager, just to give you some definition of what these things are. Somebody did not silence their phone. Somebody did not put it on thing for me, on vibrate. All right, but the first one is planning. Planning involves defining goals, establishing strategy, and developing ideas to coordinate activities. All right. The second one, organizing, is determining which tasks are to be done, who is to do them, how the tasks are to be grouped, who reports to whom, and decision making. And we're going to go through each one of these in more clarity and more depth. All right. I just want to give you, as I said, a brief definition. Apologies. Let me apologize. I do not control the projectors, and they are not always on, but I am trying my best. Do know I'm trying my best. Okay, so leading. Leading includes motivating subordinates, directing others, selecting the most effective communication channels, and resolving conflict. And controlling includes monitoring activities to ensure they are being accomplished as planned and correcting any significant deviations. All right, so let's talk about the decision-making process. As you could see, all 4 of those functions require you to make decisions, and that's why we thought it was so important to put in the decision-making process. All right, I'm going to actually ask you to give me okay, Mr. Boyne says not problem. Give me a challenge. Anyone, just give us a challenge that we can work with so that we can make a decision about what we're going to do. I mean, I gotta use my old one. All right, let me use my old prepared one. Okay, so I have a challenge. My challenge is getting from here to Broad Street in 15 minutes. All right, so we would call that the challenge, right? That's my challenge, getting from here to Broad Street in 15 minutes. All right, now in defining and analyzing this, we want to know the conditions, what things pertain and are important to making this decision of how I can get from here to there in that time. Let me add to my challenge. I have to take 50 of these chairs with me. Okay? 50 of these chairs, like these, have to go with me from here to Broad Street in 15 minutes. All right? Okay, good. Let me add to it. So all of this is defining and analyzing the problem. I have to meet someone there. So that 15 minutes is key because they're going to be there in 15 minutes. Yeah? So when we're defining and analyzing the problem, we're getting everything that is pertinent to that problem out in the open, that we can assess it, that we can see what's happening. So initially my problem was just getting from here to Broad Street in 15 minutes. Y'all didn't know about the 50 chairs. Y'all didn't know I was meeting somebody in that time. So the idea behind this is you get within the problem. You analyze all the things that are extenuating circumstances, things that address the problem or that are part of the problem, comprise the problem, sorry. And you put that all in like one big statement. So my real issue is I gotta get from here to there, 15 minutes with 50 heavy chairs, right? Good. How am I getting there? So now we start to identify some of the decision criteria. I gotta get all 50 chairs there. I gotta get there in 15 minutes. How is that possible? Now I want to know which of those criteria are important. Is 15 minutes really important? Or is 50 chairs the most important thing? Do I need to get there with the 50 chairs? Or do I need to get there in the 15 minutes? Which is the most important? All, you can say all? All right, let me go. I call the person and I say to them, now listen to me, friend. I really cannot get there in 15 minutes with 50 chairs. If I only need to show you what one of the chairs look like, well, that could happen. I might get somebody take me in a car. That's an alternative. So the next step is developing alternatives. What can I do to solve the problem? You see how we're going step by step by step? Good. So now that I've allocated the weight, I've spoken to the person and I said, okay, the real key is for me to get there in 15 minutes with at least one chair. You see I'm defining it, I'm reducing it, and I've allocated what is important. Yeah, to this decision. I could start developing alternatives. I could walk up there with the chair. Somebody will look at me like I'm mad, but that don't matter. I got somebody to get to. This is my business. I'm interested. I take up the one chair and I start walking. Not in these shoes, but you get the idea. Yeah, that's an alternative. How viable it is, we're gonna talk about that now. I might have a friend with a car in the office next door. And I could say to them, well, excuse me, could you take me on my chair up the road in 15 minutes? Okay? So this stage, I start to look at what is available to me. What can I do to solve the problem? All right? And reduce the issues. All right. I might decide, you know what? They got a fella that even better. He got a 4x4. He could slam the chair on the back of the truck, tie it up, and we roll. Right? So I start to devise the alternatives. All right, good. Once I start analyzing them, walking up there with the chair can take longer than 15 minutes. Right? Because I know about one, but geez, I ain't that strong. And I'm not that fast in cha-cha heels. No. So that might not be the best alternative. Getting the guy with the 4x4, to me, that's the best option. It's easy to move and not put anybody out of their way or right? Everything is accommodated well, and nobody has to ride with a chair on top of them. Or you understand what I'm saying? So that might be my best alternative. So in step 5, I analyze my alternatives and make a decision as to which one is the best. Once I've decided on the best alternative, I then implement my decision and ensure, please, to evaluate the decision. All right? This is where I want to be. So this is a diagram of the same process, just it's condensed some of the steps together. So you define and analyze the problem, like I said. You find out what are all the pertinent considerations you have to have or are concerning that problem. You develop your alternative solutions, right? You evaluate the alternative solutions and you select the best solution. Once you've selected that solution, you now have to implement it. So now I got to call my friend, let me go, listen, I got the chair here, we got the straps, let me roll, we got to get there in 15 minutes, right? And I made the decision, take the chair and get it on, and we roll up the road. When I am finished with all of this, I need to know if it made sense. Did it work? Did I meet all the criteria? Did I address the problem? Did I resolve the issue? And if so, did I do it well? Was it efficient? Okay? All of this, at the end of it, I need to know if it was a win-win. You know, yeah, you heard that terminology? Did it pay off? Right? Okay, good. Yeah, because he might say he wants a 50, he might want 100. Hey, so did it make sense at the end for my business? All right, and in the context of my business. So let's move on to the first function of the manager, planning. Now, planning defines a company's goals. What do you want to achieve? What is your business set up to do? Okay, that's what planning is concerned with. So you define, you write down, you decide what you want this company to do. You want to establish a strategy for then achieving those goals. So if I have a natural juice company, I might decide my goal for my company is to provide organically sound and gluten-free juices. I'm just drawing a reference, right? But you get the idea. Because I want something that is healthy. I want to position myself in the market as a healthy brand, right? Okay, good. So I might not use sugar. I might use honey. Just right? So depending on what my company's goals are, I now have to also establish what the strategy. How am I going to do it? I want to make myself an organic, healthy juice that might have a shelf life of 2 or 3 days. These sorts of things come into play. What strategy am I going to use for that? Right? How am I going to make that happen? I need my machinery, I need my people, I need my resources, my inputs. I need to make sure I have my raw materials in place, right? And that they're grown the way that they need to be so that I can say it is organic. All right, good. Planning also helps you to develop a comprehensive hierarchy of plans to integrate and coordinate activities. So for example, I may be in my juice business and there are no carrots available. What can I do instead? Planning can help me do that. I have my recipes. Yeah, I know what's available on the market. So I have my plans all set out. So if there are no carrots, I use cucumbers. Yeah? All right. So it should be comprehensive. Yeah? All right. Formal planning. Oh, we don't do this enough. We don't do this enough. And we need to do this. Formal planning involves recording decisions and plans and sharing them with others. You see there's a little asterisk there? That others means those who need to know. Okay? You have to be very careful sometimes of who you're sharing your information with and your plans with and your strategies with. I've heard many horror stories. I plan to do this and I plan to do that. One, you didn't have nothing written down. So you have no proof. You have no record. Right? And that's what the first part speaks to. Record your decisions, record your plans, and who you share it with. Only those who need to know to help you get to where you need to go. Okay? Because there are people who are very unscrupulous. They will take your idea and they will run with it. And in 2 weeks, you finally get the money and they already start up and running your business. You have to be wise. All right? Plans should be specific and continuous. They should be detailed. They are for you, and you keep your specific strategies, and you keep that. Except the person is a part of your business, and you are teaching them for succession planning or something like that. They need to be in your possession. And they should be specific for you. You need to set out where you're going and how you plan to get there. and they need to be continuous. So I would like to ideally say you go from step 1 to step 2 and so on. Sometimes you jump from 3 to 5, but you sometimes got to still tap back and come back to 4, right? But if you have it planned out, if you can see it in front of you, if you know what it is you're doing, it can help you. All right? Plans should chart a clear path from where we are to where we're going, right? Okay. So the main components of planning are strategic planning. Strategic planning identifies what the vision and the mission and the values of your company are. Okay? The vision, very important. The mission and your values. Okay? Operational planning now speaks about how you are going to reach those goals, how you're getting there. Okay? So as I said, I might want to position myself in the juice market as this organic and gluten-free, and how am I going to get that done? I need to talk to organic farmers. I need to ensure that the ingredients that I plan to use are gluten-free, that they don't contain any wheat product. Okay? So the operational plan for that vision becomes walking it out day by day. What do I do? What do I buy? What don't I buy? Where do I shop? All those sorts of things are now your operational planning. Some people might say, well, get a contract with an organic farmer. That's a part of your operational planning. Okay? So how you reach those goals is what operational planning is concerned with. Let's look at the time factor. Short-term and long-term planning. Short-term is anything under a year. And medium-term, let's go to long-term. Long-term is 5 plus, over 5 years. So obviously medium-term is between 1 and 5. Okay? Now, let's talk about the time factor and its influence on goals and objectives. I am whatever age I am now. Let's say 30. It was a good year. Okay, so let's say I'm 30. My long-term plan is to position myself in that organic market, that healthy juice market, right? My long-term plan may be for 10 years. In 10 years, I'll be 40. Will I be able to do the same things at 30 will I be able to do them at 40? And in the same way. All right? So there is a time factor that applies to your vision, mission, and values, and to your operational planning that you need to consider. All right? So that's why they said that the plan should be specific and continuous, because you want to grow. The idea is to grow. So let's say I want to increase my production over those 10 years. I want to double it. I need to do what? I need to grow my people. I need to grow my growers, because I need to have obviously more supply, a higher supply to be able to do that. I need to be able to have proper distribution to do that, because I can no longer walk around like I did at 30, at 40, and peddle my juice on the sidewalk anymore. Is that growth? If I'm doing the same thing 10 years from now that I'm doing now, is that growth? No. So now I need to work on my distribution. So depending on what my vision and mission are, and depending on how I'm going to go about it, I can structure myself over time, my plans over time. Short-term goals, long-term goals, right? All right. All right, so let's talk about benefits of planning. So if I do all of this wonderful stuff and I record my plans and I set down, I have them continuous and I do everything I'm supposed to do. Some of the benefits that I will derive is, 1, having direction. I know where I'm going. Anybody coming after me who can read my plans, who I allow to read my plans, knows where I'm going. All right? They know that certain things are going to change over time. So you can reduce the impact of change. Change is a part of life. Every business goes through change, okay? Whether it's something that happens because of the owners or because of the employees or something that happens outside of the company itself, change is a part of life, okay? So if I'm accurate with my planning, if I'm good with my planning, if I'm thorough, I can reduce the impact that change has on my business. All right? Okay. Minimizes waste and redundancy. And I like to talk about this one very much because I have been where you guys are in terms of persons who have inventory who are going to be providing a product. All right? Imagine your product is still my natural juices, right? And I need to manage my inventory of raw materials because what? They spoil quickly. They're perishable. So I need to ensure that what I purchase first, I use first in my production. So there's a method called FIFO, first in, first out inventory method. And it basically is what I bring into my inventory first is what I use first or what I sell first, okay? If I plan properly and if I organize my operations properly, I can reduce waste and redundancy. So for persons in technology, right, in that industry, technological industry, let's say you sell consumer electronics, just drawing a reference. Remember the iPod? You remember those? Anybody got one now? Okay, all right. Because what? The technology has moved on so fast, right? Some people say it's like 6 months, yeah, before the device that you have in your hand becomes useless because of the other upgrades and because of the advances in technology. It used to be, at one point it used to be years, now it's 6 months, all right? So if you know that you can only sell 6 items, let's say 6 iPads, why would you buy, in 6 months, why would you buy 24? You are increasing your waste and redundancy. So if you plan, and you plan well, you can mitigate all this waste and redundancy. You can reduce it significantly. In fact, you could bring it to nothing because you purchase to service your market. Right? So if it takes 6 months before they send out the next upgrade, buy enough to sell in 6 months. It's just common sense, right? Okay, the final benefit of planning is that it sets the standards to facilitate control. If you want to know what is happening in your business, planning can help you. The reason being, what you set up to attain, to achieve, is what you measure as you go through the time. So you may have, as I said, I'll give you one. I may have a goal to earn $12,000 by the end of the year. I know that every month, starting from June, every month I need to earn $2,000 a month. As I receive my sales and I add them up, by the end of June, I know right away, have I done the $2,000 in sales, or did I fall below? Did I go above? And am I on target to make the $12,000 at the end of the year? Okay? So because that is my standard, I can measure as I go to see if I'm actually getting to where I want to be. And that in itself is control. All right? Okay. The strategic planning process. It's an 8-step process. It starts with defining the company's mission. You establish your objectives, assess the company internally, assess the environment around your company, all right? Identify opportunities and threats that are available to you, develop and evaluate other strategies, select the strategy that you think is going to work best, and implement it. And as always, I will just push it again, follow up to find out if what you have done is actually lining up with what you planned. Okay? All right. Operational plans. Remember, we were talking about the different types of planning under the planning function of management. One was strategic, so we're into operational now. Plans that cover 1 year or less. They can be daily plans for the week, for the month, for the quarter, all right? And they are derived from the strategic plan. They are concerned with the path. How am I going to achieve these goals? So the path to attaining the company's goals and objectives. All right, so I'm going to give you some tools now to help you with all this planning that we're talking about, all right, and to help you with your management. So time management, a simple time management tool. Does anybody have a to-do list for today? A to-do list. It's as simple as a to-do list, because as a friend of mine says, we don't manage time, we manage ourselves in time, all right? So you make us a list of goals, a simple to-do list, all right? You rank each goal or each objective that you want to attain, all right? And you rank them in terms of importance. You list the necessary activities, okay, to accomplish a given goal.
So you have to acknowledge your people online who are watching online right now. You have to say to them they can ask any questions and you'll respond. You respond through the comment box.
No problem. Okay. All right. So listing the necessary activities to accomplish a goal. And we are acknowledging our online viewers at this moment. Any questions that you do have online, please post them in the comment section and we will address them. And as I've told you guys before, if you have a question, just raise your hand, all right? All right, so let's continue with the simple time management. We're going to assign priority to each activity for each goal. So for example, I'll give you a list. Let's say I have 4 things I want to achieve today, all right? I need to put gas in my car. I need to collect my children at 3 o'clock. I need to go to the hairdresser sometime during the day. And I still need to pick up cleaning. Like my laundry. What is the first priority you think of those 4 things? Gas. Thank you. Why? Because without the gas, I cannot do the others. So you rank them. Yeah? And it's simple things. So you have your, okay, let's make it more business oriented. You have your business. You have maybe 5 clients, all right? You have 5 clients today. You need, let's say you're in the floral, you're a florist, and you need to have all of your raw materials. You need to have the information for each customer, right? What type of bouquet they need, what's the purpose of it, where it's going, that sort, where it has to go, so on and so forth. What becomes the most important activity of those 5? Having the materials. Having the materials. Because if I don't have the materials, I cannot do anything. I cannot make those bouquets up, regardless of whether it's for a Father's Day or a baby shower. If I don't have the materials, I cannot put those together. So I'm just saying, that's why you have to prioritize. You have to figure out what it is that you need to accomplish each goal, prioritize it, yeah, so that it makes sense, it flows, it's in order. That's what I want to say. Bring order to the process, all right? And the final thing is to schedule your activities based on those priorities. So like that with my example, first thing I have to do is go and put in gas. Yeah? Because I can't do any of the others without the vehicle. All right? All right. So once we're on the same page, we go forward. All right. Another tool for planning. Anybody ever heard of a SWOT analysis? Good. It stands for a SWOT. It just stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And what you do is you actually assess your company and you say, what are the strengths that I bring? What are the strengths that my company has? Am I good? Let's say I'm a florist. Am I great at doing baby showers? Providing the floral arrangement or whatever for baby showers, right? Am I good in that area? Is my strength more in dealing with exotic plants or exotic blooms, right? What are my strengths? Okay? If I'm looking at weaknesses, same thing applies. What am I not good at? Okay? Am I bad at tying bows? Yeah? What are my weaknesses? Yeah? Do I have enough people to help me produce the output that I need to produce to make it profitable, right? What are the weaknesses? What are the opportunities? For example, I just said floral arrangements for baby showers, but did I actually do that? I'm just thinking, is there an opportunity for that? Right? Is there an opportunity where I can apply my skill to a whole other area like events and entertainment? I might be a great florist, and I might decide that I can do the big displays and that sort of thing for events and entertainment. All right? So what opportunities are available to me in the environment around me? Finally, what threats are there? Is there anything on the horizon or anything soon coming that may affect my business? Whether it's coming out of government, whether it's coming out of legal situations, whether it's coming out of suppliers, because don't forget, suppliers are key to your business. If you have a particular supplier that gives you a key input to your business and that suddenly goes away, how does that affect your business? So you might want to have more than one supplier. Not so? You might want to have more than one supplier. So you want to look at the threats around you and surrounding your business. And the idea obviously is to transfer them as much as possible, to work with them and to make them into strengths. Right? So that's what your SWOT analysis is concerned with. And a nice one here for assessing the environment is the PESTLE analysis. All right? It can be used to analyze both the internal and external environments of a company. And the PESTLE actually stands for political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental factors. So if I produce hurricane shutters and I hear a hurricane coming, friends, I will make more. Because why? Demand for my product has going to increase, right? All right. If I sell lanterns and those sort of things, I stock up. I bring in more stock because you're going to need more of those things once you hear that the hurricane or whatever system is out there. All right? So if you know, the same thing applies for political. If you know there's an election coming, right? You want to know how will that affect your business, right? How will the change or lack thereof affect your business? If you know there is something in your society that you want to address with your company, again, these are you can see opportunities opening up there. Let's say, for example, I've noticed that children between the age of 5 and 15 have no supervision after school. I could create a whole business out of that because that's an opportunity in my society, yeah, that is available to me, and I can leverage that to make money. So you want to be, as entrepreneurs, you want to know what's happening in your environment outside of your company, as well as what is happening in your company. All right? Let's talk about the function of organizing. So, organizing, the function of management organizing is concerned with the tasks to be done, who is to do them, how they're going to be grouped, who is to report to whom, and who makes decisions. And I give you a very simple example. Yes, please.
Did you do technology?
I didn't, but I could skip back. Skip back, no problem. Have a question about technology, we're just going to skip back. And just in terms of the fact that technology is changing every day, right? So as things advance, and let's say I'm a seamstress and I have a machine that can just do, right now, a machine that can just stitch. That's all it does. I need an overlock machine, right? So I'm in the market for an overlock machine. But while I'm in the market for this machine, this overlock machine, they developed a sewing machine that can do both. Friends, buy that one time. Because the technology has changed to allow me to get everything I need in one machine. So when I'm ready now to replace my old machine in 2 years' time, I already have a machine that can do both. I don't have to buy both a sewing machine and an overlock machine, right? So changes in technology, they can work for or against you. Of course, the entrepreneur is about making it work for you. all right, as much as possible. Anything further, ma'am? Legal? Okay, so let's touch on the legal aspect. Very simple and straightforward. Usually for us, the legal aspect comes through government and changes in government policy and requirements. For example, you are required, if you're going to run a food production firm, company, stall, food stall, restaurant, to have a health certificate. It is a requirement of the government, right, of Barbados. And you have to have it renewed every year. And if you're going to move from that location that you're in to, say, have a tent at crop over or whatever, not a tent, but a booth, you have to have special licenses for that. So my thing is, once there are changes, legal changes in your environment that affect your business, you need to be able to meet the requirements. So you need to do the analysis to find out what is happening, what is going on. Stay informed and abreast of what is happening. Yes, ma'am? That's good? Let's move on. I did the E. Yes, please.
You did environmental?
Yes, we spoke about the hurricane. Okay, so on to organizing. As I said, organizing is concerned with the tasks to be done, who is to do them, how they're to be grouped, who is to report to whom, and who makes the decisions in your company. And then we talk a little bit about structure. So the easiest one for me to give you is the cashier function. All right? Every business, I believe you're in business to earn, so you're going to be receiving funds. All right, so who does the cashier report to at the end of the day? To you. Good. Do you check your register, the sheet that comes out of your register? You know there's a receipt, a report against what you have, right? Who does that, right? If it's not you, is there an accounts clerk or somebody, a supervisor or somebody in your business to whom that person can report, who will go through the process, the checks and balances that you put in place to ensure that if there are any overs or shorts, they're explained and covered. All right, so it's a simple function, but organizing deals with who reports to whom, who does what, okay? All right, so for example, in a food business, you're really not supposed to be making change and serving food, right? Okay, good. So let's talk a little bit about structure. Types of internal structure for small and medium-sized enterprises include the simple one, which is you have one leader, everybody reports to the leader. You might have a manager or a supervisor, in between you being the owner and the employees who actually do the work. So it's a very top-down structure, simple, right? You may also have a network structure because your mechanical, let me give you the example first. You may have a maintenance company, a vehicle maintenance company, and you may have a manager over the mechanical repairs because, let's face it, you can't fix every vehicle yourself. So you may have vehicles need parts and that sort of thing. You may have somebody for ordering parts and for doing the purchasing, and you have somebody then to receive the money. Yeah? So you have different jobs and different groups, but they work together. All right? So the network type, it just basically says they all interact with each other, right? Instead of going through the top-down structure. All right. So let's talk about organizing and job design. It is the way in which tasks are combined to form complete jobs. Authority and power in small and medium-sized enterprises are concerned with understanding the difference between authority and power and not undermining your manager, and we will pause here because this is something that we do too often. If you have set a person in position because they are qualified to do the job, they know what they're about, they have the requisite experience. Do not, regardless of the situation, put that manager or supervisor in a position where an employee comes to you, complains about the decision they have made, and you stand up in front of that employee and say to them, that person was wrong, do it XYZ way. You know why? From that day on, you will have to make every single decision yourself. It will never go back to that manager or supervisor again, and you'll be paying them for fun because they would not be fulfilling the role. You would have given them the requisite authority and power to do the job. They're qualified to do it. If you have a problem with what they've done, call them aside, close your door, wait till the employee gone home, and talk to them about the decision that they've made, explain to them why it doesn't work for you or whatever. Do not do it in front of that employee. You undermine that manager's authority and their ability to do their job. And let me tell y'all, I've seen people do it over and over and over, and they do not recover because that employee and every employee after that comes directly to them. I'll give an example. A gentleman, he's running a hotel. He has 24 rooms. Why should his plumber have to call him and say to him, the faucet in room 12 is broken? Why? When he has an on-site operations manager who has the key to give him both the tools, the equipment that he needs, or give him the money to go and buy the tool. Why would he need to call the person at home who got come in for the night shift because they're the owner to tell them that the faucet in 12 is broken? Why? The manager was undermined. There's no longer any trust in that manager to do the job and to make a good decision. Right? Because they would have, the owner would have undermined the manager. All right? If you're going to put people in place and you give them the authority, you can bind them up to how much they can tie your business to in terms of money terms. You can say up to $200. You can ask for anything over $200, even if it's 5 cents. You gotta talk to me first. Under $200, free ring. You understand what I'm saying? And that $200, when you put it together, it don't add up to more than $2,000. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, good. All right. So let's talk about the delegation process. This is where you allocate the duties. So you're getting that manager to run the mechanic shop. You delegate the authority. Sir, ma'am, you have up to X amount. You can make, in terms of dollars, you can make these decisions. These other ones need to come through me. You give them their portfolio. That's when you delegate your authority. You assign responsibility. So that's part of the job, part of the duties. You must do X, Y, Z. You must report to me every week what you've spent. You must tell me where these parts have gone. Show me the records of which vehicles the parts went into. You understand what I'm saying? And you create accountability. So this is where you put in your checks and balances. So the manager said the Audi needed $5,000 worth in parts. That got come through me. I need to sign off on it, ensure that these parts are bad first before I sign off on $5,000. Talk to the customer. Sir, ma'am, do you want to spend $5,000 in your Audi? You understand? There's process. So you put checks and balances in place. There are reports at the end of the week, the month, whatever. The idea is you know what is going on. Yeah? But that person can still act. They have enough scope to do the job that you have appointed them to do or employed them to do. All right? Okay. Leading, and this is the third function that we're going to deal with today. Leaders are those that are able to influence others and who possess managerial authority. Leadership behavior can be brought to two main dimensions, and that is tasks. You lead a task and you lead people. All right? Before I go to leadership styles, I want to just say one thing here about leaders. Leaders in a company would fit this description, but they're leaders outside of companies as well. All right? Leadership is not limited to management. All right? So it's those, if you take the first part of that definition, those that are able to influence others, those are leaders. All right? So let's talk about the leadership styles. These are by no means exhaustive. There are many different styles of leadership. These are just a few. My favorite, as you can see, is number 1, servant leader. I'm just going to jump forward and then I'm going to come back. So what is servant leadership? Servant leadership stresses the importance of the role of a leader plays as 1, the steward of the resources of a business or other organization. And 2, teaches leaders to serve others while still achieving the goals set forth by the business. All right? So the idea here is that you serve others, which would be your employees, your customers, and you do that while you still achieve the goals that you've set for your business. All right? So that's the servant leader type. Everybody's clear on that? All right, let's step back and let's talk about autocratic. What is autocratic leadership? Anybody got an idea? Yeah, autocratic? I can't hear. Somebody's saying, but I can't hear. Oh yes, I am in charge. And what I say is what you do. There ain't no ifs, there ain't no ands, there ain't no buts. It's just what I say. That's autocratic. All right? Laissez-faire. Any ideas? Quite the opposite. I really don't care what you do. As long as you get my work done by the time it's supposed to be done, friends, we're going to be good. That's laissez-faire, very laid back. I'm not too concerned about the process. I just want you to accomplish the task. All right? That's the laissez-faire style of management. Democratic, any ideas? When you think democratic, you can think about our political process. Everybody gets a say, right? So management style, basically, everybody gets to say how they feel, what they think. Is this a good decision, a bad decision, good for the company or not? So that's democratic. Participatory is another name for it. And then there's the charismatic. Anybody want to guess this one? What do you think charismatic is? All right, I'm just so sweet. I'm just so nice. My personality is so influential that no matter what I do or say, you're going to do what I ask you to do. It's based on personal traits, right? Or personality traits. And if you think about some of our politicians, there are a lot of charismatic types of leaders, but the easiest one to point to are some of our politicians, all right? I will name no names, I will just say that, all right? So the charismatic style is more about the personality, yeah, of the leader. You know, I'm just so excellent, I'm just so flamboyant, I'm just so wonderful that you follow me automatically, right? Okay, so those are the, as I said, not exhaustive styles. There are several, and not only that, you can mix these, yeah? You can take little parts from each and create your own style, right? And a lot of it has to do with your own personality and what you're comfortable with, right, for your leadership style. Please note, not only managers are leaders. I'm sure some of you have worked in businesses where actually the leader in the business was somebody who was charismatic or somebody who just had the ability to get people to do what they wanted to do, whether it was in keeping with what the owner wanted or the managers wanted or not. So there are leaders, you can have leaders inside your business that are leading people against what you want them to do. So you need to be mindful as the owner, as the manager of your company, you need to lead. Even if it means working with that person, getting them on board so that now the persons that are following them are actually going in your direction. Yeah? So be mindful of that. Let's talk about one of the most important C's in leadership. I think this one can cause a lot of, can stop a lot of issues if it's properly done. The communication process. If you communicate well, you can prevent a lot of things before they start. All right, so what is communication? And what are the steps of the communication process? Okay, the whole point of communication is to transmit meaning. All right? So the communication process is the steps by which meaning is transmitted and understood. All right? So we start off the process by creating your message. What is it that I want to say to the people today? Let me give you an example, because I've been messaging y'all all day. I feel like I'm on IG, but no. Let me give you a different message. I want a red apple. Okay? Tell me what type of apple you thought of when I said I want a red apple. English apple. Nobody sat there and got really creative and thought, you know what? She could mean a golden apple dyed red. Nobody did that, right? Because of the language I use. I just want a red apple. And we're Bajans. All together, red apple mean English apple. Good. All right. So you see, I encoded that message with my language. All right. I sent the message, I created it, I encoded it with my own language. I sent it through my channel, speaking, right, oral, so you can hear. And then you decoded the message as the receiver, all right? Now my thing at the end was to find out, did you get the message I was sending? So all of that is a communication process. You create your message, you encode it, you send it through a channel. I could have written it down. I could have said, I want a red apple. And that's a different channel, right? And then you received it, you decoded it, and then I had to assess to see if what I said is what you understood. Good. Let's go forward. Communication is the transference and understanding of meaning. Effective communication does not require agreement. You can understand everything I say but not agree. That's okay. All right? My communication was still effective. All right? Okay. So let's talk about some barriers to communication. And you can see as an owner why this is going to be important. Why communication is going to be important. Filtering. Different people have different experiences, different ethnicities, different understandings for the same word. For example, I can say to you, the bat is on the playing field. What type of bat came to mind? Cricket bat, because that's our culture. For an American, it may be a baseball bat. For a farmer, it might be a fruit bat. All of them is bats, right? Same word, three different things all together, three different pictures. Okay, good. So filtering is one. Emotions. Have any of you ever tried to talk to somebody who was bawling? Oh. Or somebody who was so angry. I mean, you could see the fumes coming off of them. They were so angry. And you know what your words are doing? Bouncing off. They're not hearing a thing you're saying, right? So emotions. Ecstatic. People, when they're really ecstatic, they ain't hearing you. They're not hearing you, right? So emotions can play a significant role in blocking messages, all right? Language, as we just saw, one word in English means 5 different things, right? Okay. Nonverbal cues. Yes, 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 yes. I am saying yes, and the rest of me is saying no. So that would bring confusion. Is it really yes or is it really no? Okay? Time pressures. Okay, so you're in an emergency situation. You ever heard people start to stutter because they want to get out this information so quickly that you can't understand a word they're saying? Look, I have to get this done by that time, and all you are saying is this and that. No real communication can happen because you're under time pressure and nobody can understand what you're saying, all right? So these are some of the things, some of the barriers that come up in communication that you need to be aware of. So, for example, the person with the time pressure, you go, all right, take a breath, relax, take a deep breath, slowly, we will get it done. But if I can't understand what you're saying, I cannot help you, yeah? All right, so these barriers can be referred to as noise, all right? Let's talk about another important C in leadership, change. Life, if nothing else, that is constant in life, it is change. Change is constant, all right? And change is an alteration of people and of structure and of technology, all right? There are 3 main reasons for resistance to change, and these are important to note because if you know them and if you understand them, you can circumvent them. The first thing is uncertainty. People are often afraid of what they do not know. All right? So by educating, you can make them, and we'll come to that. Concern or fear over personal loss. A lot of people think that because change takes place, they're going to lose their position. They're going to lose what they gain now. All right? And the third one is belief that the change is not in the organization's best interest. All right? Some things you can do to manage change, as we were saying, educate and use good communication. Participation. Allow those persons to be a part of the change process. okay? Facilitate and support the change process. Sometimes you do not have all of the tools yourself. Bring in experts who can facilitate and help support the company or support the employees during that change or transition. Negotiation, always underestimated. Negotiation, give and take, that's all it is. Yeah, working out what to give and what to take and what y'all can live with, right? The last two are not my favorite, but sometimes you have no choice. Okay, manipulation and cooptation and coercion. Let's talk about that a bit. Let's say that something has changed in your business by government. Government has imposed a law, a new law on you. So your company has to comply. It changes your process from what you need to go through. Like, for example, labeling on the natural juices. Let's say it's required by law, you have to label these juices or you cannot sell them. I'm not going to allow you to sell them. So my workers or my employees, they are making the juices or whatever, and they now want to know why I have to put on a label, why I have to stop doing what I'm doing to come and put on labels on a bottle. It's required by law. After I have educated you and I've gone through all this wonderful good communication, after I have brought you in and help you participate in this change process, right? After I've facilitated and brought in the experts to explain, then and negotiated with what we can and can't do. After all of this is when then I need to, and you still don't comply, is when I need to use these. Because guess what? I can make no money if I cannot sell my juice. So you have to recognize as the owner, as a manager, there are times when you're going to have to force people to change, whether they like it or not. All right? Because it may be in the best interest of your own business to ensure that you are up to code and up to standard, yeah, with the requirements. Right. Conflict. Remember earlier on I told you, conflict is inevitable. So we are people. We are people. We're human beings. It's inevitable. And how you view conflict can help you change and manage conflict. All right? First of all, view it as a natural part of living. It just is. You and everybody are not going to be on the same page all the time, 24/7. It doesn't work that way. People have different opinions, different ideas, different background, come from a different place. All right? So conflict is a perceived incompatible difference or differences that result in interference and opposition. So when you start to see employees output do like this, because John ain't talking with Susie and Susie ain't talking with Heather and Heather can't get along with nobody, it's time to do some resolution, all right? Because then it's starting to affect your productivity. Your output is not where it should be, you cannot sell. All right. So here are some ways to help you manage some conflict. Conflict can be managed in 4 basic ways. 1, remove emotions. People get, and I put it this way, they take up offense real fast, right? And when I say that, I could actually literally see them taking up offense because they get offended so easily, yeah? Little things, and you know, it can affect your business. So first thing, get rid of the emotion. Deal with the facts. Deal with the circumstances. Don't deal with things like, I blame you, you's the fault. You don't need that. What you need to know is what caused the conflict in the first place. What happened? What's the situation? Get rid of the emotions out of it and deal with the facts. And the third one says that refer to the facts and the background of the situation. All right? Don't tell me how you feel about it. Tell me what happened. All right? And start there. The second thing says, give persons the benefit of the doubt. Okay, we all make mistakes. I know, but you guys wait enough. Okay, I make a lot. I am human and I make errors and I know that I'm not perfect. So sometimes I would like the benefit of the doubt, wouldn't you? You mess up, you foul up, you bleep, you blunder, you say, okay, it was my fault. You take responsibility, you admit it was your fault. But let's say we're in a situation where it's a hearsay situation. You want to give the person the benefit of the doubt. All right? That's one way to help resolve the conflict. Give them the benefit of the doubt. They said they didn't mean to do it. They didn't do it on purpose, whatever. You give them You allow them the benefit of the doubt. All right? The third thing, as I said, refer to the facts and the background of the situation. And the basic principle. How would you want to be treated in the situation? Do that for the other person. So do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Very simple, very basic way to manage conflict, right? Okay, let's go on. Control, definition, and key factors. What is control? So this is the final function. They'll probably sign a big sigh of relief like, yeah, she's soon done. Control, definition, and key factors. The final function of the manager, all right? From the 4 that we had broken it down into. So control is the ongoing process of monitoring activities to ensure they are being accomplished as planned and of correcting any significant deviations. It is best to break down large activities into objective segments that allow for easy measurement of performance. So an example of that, let's say my goal, as I said, was the $12,000 by the end of the year. You see how I was able to break it down by the month? Right. So some things may be time-bound. Some objectives may not be time-bound, but they might be a big objective, but you want to break it down into smaller modules so that you can measure it easily. All right? Measure based on your set goals and objectives. That's the reason you have them in the first place, to direct you. Where you're going, what is it you want to accomplish. So obviously, as you're going through the process of getting there, you want to measure what your activity is based on the goals and the objectives that you have. Not so? Okay. 3 stages of the control process. Pretty straightforward. First, you measure your actual performance. Yeah? You have to know what you're doing on a day-to-day. Secondly, you compare actual performance against the standard or the objective that you have set. Thirdly, taking action to correct any deviations or inadequate standards, right? So, the measuring of performance. Here are some things that you can do to measure performance. Aside from the financial measurements, which all of us should be doing. Okay, y'all look at me fairly blank, which all of us are doing. You can do some personal observation. Yeah, so you can look at things like your customer satisfaction. You can use surveys, you can use the boxes, suggestion boxes and different things that you can get feedback from your customers, all right? You can use statistical reports. For example, you can be tracking your number of repeat customers, your employee absenteeism, things like that. Because if you're a service company, any day your employee is out, you cannot provide the service. All right? Oral and written reports. Example, financial data from cash flow reports and income statements become very important, especially if you set a financial goal for yourself. Obviously, you have to be able to measure that data. All right? Stage 2 is the comparison, actual versus planned. Here you compare actual performance with the stated goals and objectives. It is during this phase of the process that deviations are highlighted, right? So anything that goes contrary to what you plan comes out in this stage when you put the two and you compare what you planned versus what actually happened. So once you've identified causes for the deviations, should you find any, they can be sought out. Sorry, causes of the deviations can be sought out so that the next phase can begin. And the final phase of that process is taking action. So let's say everything that you planned, you actually realized you met all of your goals, right? So that's the only situation I could see you doing nothing. And even then, some of us still find things to tweak and make better because the process is not perfect. Next, you correct your actual performance to bring it in line with set goals and objectives. So let's say I didn't make the $12,000 at the end of the year. I want to find out why. Why didn't I make the $12,000? And I can go back to each month and see where I didn't make $2,000 each month. And I can start to see what is happening. Excuse me. For example, my juice business may not be doing, excuse me, 1 minute. Almost. My juice business may not be doing as well as I thought in October. Why? Here's why. I might have a competitor who started up operations in October. So now I start to try to address that issue. Maybe they're offering something better, different than what I'm offering. So now I start to tweak, you understand, to be able to offer something similar or better, right? So what caused the deviation in the first place? That's what you want to know. Before you can correct your performance, you need to know what caused the deviation. Suppose it was a good deviation. Suppose it was something positive. You'd made more money. You want to find out why. Think about it. Because if you could continually do that, guess what you do overall? You make more money. Not so? Okay, good. So you want to understand. You want to understand why the deviation in the first place. Capitalize on it, change it, and make it better. All right? Okay. You can also revise your standard. Basically, I might change my plan. That's basically what it's saying. I changed my plan. Okay. I changed my plan from $12,000 by the end of the year to say $10,000. Okay? Because I realized the market isn't there. All right. So I've been told, take a break, 5 minutes. Everybody stand, get some water, do what you need to do, 5 minutes. Oh, and ensure that your name is on the form. Okay.
In the building, you guys have coffee available?
No, I'm sorry. Sorry.
So you don't have to get up. I just want to.
Oh, okay.
I just want to turn it off.
Sure. I have, you know. It's just on my phone. That's like that. problem. Okay, folks, let's get back. I think that's 5 minutes. So, as you can see, my voice has recovered. Let's hope it's permanent. All right. So we have gotten to the additional concerns in management. So we're hitting the home stretch. We're almost there. Managers and owners, some other concerns that you may have are, firstly, management information systems, how you control and secure your data concerning your business. I personally do not advocate, this is just my preference, y'all don't have to agree. I personally do not advocate putting your financial data on computers that have internet access. That's just me, okay? Yeah, but that's just me. I know people who do it, and they do it freely, it's no problem. I personally prefer to have my data on an external hard drive, and when I'm using it with my computer, etc., I do not leave the internet access on. That is me. You work with what works for you, okay? Another important process that managers may have to consider is the human resource management process. Reason being, your business can be very dependent on the people that you employ, the people that work along with you. If they project the same ideals, the same things that you as your in your business want to project, then that works. Whereas the opposite, you can have some serious challenges. So be aware that your human resource management is going to be important. And for us here in Barbados, we have to comply with the Employee Rights Act. So be aware of what it states and comply. Thirdly, operations management. For persons who are into large-scale production or persons who are into production, period, there are processes that you have to go through. You have to order the process so that it makes sense, so that it is cost-effective and economical to run. So let's say you, remember I was talking about being in the shoe business, right? I need to order in my materials, I need to have my machinery, I have to have my labor in place, I need to have my thread, I need to have my soles, I need to have my patterns. All these are things I need. How I put them into position, how I put them into that process can determine whether I make 1,000 shoes or 50. I might decide I want to custom make certain things by hand, charge extra for that. You understand? So depending on what the goal is, what the objective is, your operations management can be very important. All right? Financial management. Now this is important for everybody. Everyone in business needs to know how they're doing financially. If you are selling your product for less than it costs you, you are not in business. Do not tell me you're making money, because you are not. You're seeing money in your hand does not mean that you're making money. When you are meeting your costs and exceeding, going above, you're earning above what it costs you to make those things, is then that you're making a profit, and then that you're in business, okay? Financial management is about your expenses, your costs, understanding how they work. I will tell you this because I've done accounting for a long period in my life, okay? And you need to understand how the costs relate to your product. And you need to know how much on top of that you need to add to be able to do it again. Because prices do what? They go up. They go up. Over time, price goes up. So you need to be able to cover your costs and make something on top of that. You got to pay yourself. Let's be real. You got to pay the people who are doing the manufacturing or doing whatever service for you. All right? You got to pay your accountant if you have one. If you're not able to do that for yourself, get people who know what they're doing, who will comply with the law on your behalf. Correct? So financial management, a very serious and important concern for owners and managers. All right? So let's review. What is management? Management is the alignment and coordination of multiple activities in an organization. It is the process of getting activities completed efficiently with and through other people. The four main functions of management, or owners and managers, according to the process approach, is basic, that management performs four functions: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. And remember, that control function is critical to knowing whether you're doing what you set out to do or not, if you're meeting those goals or not, okay? We want to look at the decision-making process, because in every part of your business you have to make decisions. So remember to define and analyze the problem well. Because I said I had to get from here to there in 15 minutes, that wasn't all there was to the issue or to the concern, all right, or to the challenge. I had to get there with 50 chairs. I had to get there in a set time. I had to meet somebody. So all these things, remember, were part of defining and analyzing the problem. Once you've done that, you develop your alternative solutions, and there it goes. Develop the alternative solutions. You evaluate each alternative, and you select the best solution. Once you've done that, implement it and follow up. Check to make sure that that decision worked for you and for your customer. All right? The tools for decision making that you can use. Brainstorming is one that we didn't talk about specifically, but it's basically sitting down and coming up with ideas to address or to solve a problem, right? SWOT, we talk about that: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. How you analyze your business and what you can offer, what is available out there that you can leverage to make your business better, bigger. And the PESTLE analysis, the environment outside of your company: political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environment. And we went through each one with examples, right? Okay. So, as my slide says, thank you so very much. I really appreciate you guys coming. Not only that, I want to encourage you. What you're doing is changing mindsets. What you're doing is changing a culture. You're being proactive. You're being entrepreneurial. And trust me when I say we need you all to do it. Be encouraged. When you hit your challenges and difficult spots, they're going to come. When you do that, talk to the people here. They have a lot of resources and help that they can offer. Experience. A lot of them have experiences that can help you through. Don't run away. You know, sometimes when we meet a challenge, first thing we do is run. Yeah, you know, there's the fight or flight response. Stand up and fight. Okay, if you want your business to succeed, if you want to be able to, yes, repay the loan, but to grow your business, the fight is worth it. All right, and know that we appreciate you. Yeah, and that you always have the opportunity to come in and speak with the staff here. Right, so when things get hard, when things get tough, come in and talk with them. They have solutions that they can offer you. Now, a word about the handout. Dear, we will have to, oh dear, I don't have too many right now, to be honest. What we can do though is have them copied and provided for you by the end of this week. All right, so this is what the handout looks like. It's only about 2 pages, but it will cover all the information that we dealt with today, and you should have it by Thursday. Normally we would have it for the end of each class, right? So unfortunately we don't have any more for you as yet, but check in. By Thursday they should have them. So whatever class you're coming to on Thursday, ask, and they should have the introduction. The staff should have the introduction to management handout. All right, thank you once again. We would normally do a training evaluation form, but again, hopefully we can have them tomorrow. All right, appreciate it. Any other questions? Any questions at all? No? Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. It was great to have you. All right? Okay. We'll see.